Hi and welcome to my channel. If you're new here for the first time, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. A bit about me. First, I'm an intuitive tarot reader. I pick up on energy prior to a reading. I will then come and use my tarot and oracle decks to further clarify the message. All of my readings are timeless, so whenever you stumble across this reading, you are meant to find it. All of the decks that I use on my channel are my own designs because I am also an illustrator. Now, this particular reading is part of a series of readings that I am doing, pulling in the energy of the number 9. 2025 this year is representative, if you add those numbers up, of the number 9. And now 9 symbolizes completion. But the energy I'm pulling through is that collectively we are in a huge period of gestation. If you think about the number 9, you can think about pregnancy, a huge period of rebirth, culminating at the end of the year with the 999 portal, which is a portal that doesn't happen every year. So it will be the 9th of September 2025, 999. The last time that happened was 2016. I'm pulling in the energy of the two Marys, not a religious reading, but I'm pulling in those two archetypal energies. We're looking at Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene. One of them birthed a baby, one of them helped birth a religion. As I said, that number 9 is endings, it's closure, a big gestational period that we are going through. So this introduction to this reading will actually be housed at the start of all of the readings, just to give you a bit of context and so I don't have to repeat myself across the readings. So if you get to the second reading, and you've already heard it, I'll put the timestamps in the description. I'm just going to give you some more information as to the messages that were coming through. I was hearing the word novena, which means 9 days. This year is the year of the snake. The snake sheds skin. So rebirth, rebirthing, shedding our old skin into a frequency that now resonates with our soul. So when I'm talking about shedding your old skin, I'm talking about potentially your spiritual beliefs, because this year and for the next 18 months, from January 2025 through to midway in 2026, the North Node is in Pisces. Now, Pisces is spirituality. And if you think about that context with the two Marys, Pisces, the fish, is also the symbol of Jesus, which is somebody that was connected to those two women. One birthed Jesus, one helped Jesus actually bring about a spiritual revolution. The previous reading that I did, if you want to know more about what's happening collectively in terms of this spiritual revolution, this big gestational period collectively we've been in for the last 2,000 years, it's just coming to a head this year. That 999 portal in September is an opening up to spiritual truth, a searching for spiritual truth, and an acknowledgement of the things that you've potentially been avoiding on a personal level, but on a collective level. I was also picking up bee energy. You think of bee energy, you think of the queen bee. And the symbolism around the words rebirth, Mother Mary, the Virgin Mary, Mary Magdalene, and 999. Now, if you watch my previous readings, I use Davinci Code, which is a technique used to align alphanumerically numbers to letters, which gives each word or a phrase a numerical value. And then you can look at, a bit like you would do with a thesaurus, you can look at words that are similar in alphanumeric value. So the words that align alphanumerically with Mother Mary: first trimester, Constantine the Great. Now, back in the mid-300s, Constantine actually changed religions, but he actually was responsible for allowing Christianity to be practiced legally, because for about 250 years after Jesus, it was illegal to practice. And his mother, in fact, Helena, her name was, actually went on a pilgrimage and brought back fragments of the cross from the tomb of Jesus. She was the patron saint of bad marriages and converts. But interesting, that tie in again with that divine feminine energy, that mother energy. Mother Mary is also symbolized in gematria alongside the words Snow White, the Great Awakening, the Bride of Christ, Heaven on Earth, the Virgin Mary, a star is born, and divine union. Now the Virgin Mary in Gematria Code, 1356 is the number. I'm the captain now. And it's got that feeling of taking leadership, taking ownership. Mother has spoken. Mary Magdalene, 624. Payphone, discouragement, night and day, and remember Pearl Harbor. Triplets, golden hour, Carrington, mental health, blessed by God, and the female Christ. 999, lines with the words songbird, first dragon, emerald green, bird song, the children, eclipses. Now we've got one Friday, March 14th. Dragonfire, life goes on. All eyes on me, watermelon. Dionysus, the atomic bomb, earthquakes, the worm moon, the mother of God, and Palm Sunday. All of these words are lining back to symbolism of Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene. The other thing that was interesting, I got shepherdess and I also got Sarah Connor. Now, if you think about the Terminator movies, and I watched the author of those books talking about the Terminator movies being about the birth of Jesus, and the Matrix movies is where baby John Connor, is that his name? John Connor, in the Terminator movies, steps into his role as metaphorical Jesus in the Matrix. That's how those books were written. So as I said in the beginning, this rebirth energy, a rebirth that comes after the gestation, a change, that symbolism of the dance of creation, the cycles of life, the turning point, the current energy that we are in. So before we get into the tarot reading, if you haven't already, please subscribe. If the reading resonates with you, give it a like. Any of the songs, movies that I mention within this reading can be found in the description box. There might be more messages in them for you. And if you're called to any of my hand illustrated decks, the links to those can also be found in the description box. Hi, and welcome to this reading. Today's reading has been one of those readings where the information coming through prior to the reading has just been one synchronicity after another, and I've been getting all of these intuitive hits and then going and looking up the information that I'm being given, and I'm getting synchronicity after synchronicity after synchronicity. So I've come to pull some cards to let you in on the energy of rebirth that's coming through this reading. This is about a soul journey that you are on, a journey of spiritual enlightenment. And what I would say to you is, whether you've just started that journey or whether you've been on it for a long time, perhaps some of the things that I bring through in this reading will give you more tools that you can use in terms of how to tap into your intuition and I want to say head down the rabbit hole of the information that is being given to you. Now, that information is given to you, in my personal belief, because it's meant to confirm for you things that you are already intuitively picking up on. It's guidance from your higher self. A way of saying you can trust what you are thinking, because at the end of the day, your soul, this journey that you are on to spiritual enlightenment, your soul and that connection with your soul, with your intuition, with your higher self, with your heart center, with your internal guidance, is the biggest journey that you will be on in your lifetime. Now, when I did the pre-shuffle, I got the South Node in the 12th house. So the South Node is what you are letting go of in this lifetime. The South Node currently is in Virgo. Virgo is very practical, very 3D based energy, whereas the North Node, which currently sits in Pisces, and it will sit there for 18 months. So from January this year through until halfway through next year, Pisces is about going with the flow, tapping into the messages that you are receiving, connecting on a spiritual level with the information that you are getting. Now we've got the South Node in the 12th house. The 12th house is actually ruled by Pisces, which is spirituality, which is actually where the North Node is. Pisces, think water, think spiritual, think holy water. It's also ruled by Neptune, going down to the depths of the information that you're being given, tapping into it and following it along the spiritual path that it takes you. Almost like, what's that song, Just Around the River Bend? If you think of Pocahontas, she could go one way, a way that was all set out for her, or she could take that canoe the other way, which is what she did, just around the river bend. If your South Node is kicking back in the 12th house, you might have been a maestro of playing the victim, allowing others to walk all over you. But guess what? Forgiveness, my friend, is the magic potion for seizing control of your fate. It's time to ditch the cozy nest of the past to embrace your inner eagle and rule the skies. It's a journey. It's about a journey that you're on. Now, if you didn't skip through the intro, you would understand that all of these readings that I'm doing, this series of readings, are about either a birth or a rebirth. So I'm tapping into Mary Magdalene energy in terms of a rebirth, or Mother Mary energy in terms of a birth. Two very strong archetypal women. If you've watched the other readings, you will also know that I live in Brisbane in Australia, and we literally in a couple of hours time, we are about to be hit by a massive cyclone called Cyclone Alfred, and messages from the symbolism of that cyclone have actually been coming through for a couple of days, and in the past couple of readings they've been coming through. And this morning I was intuitively guided to actually tap into that energy a bit further, and it literally just opened up Pandora's box. So prior to this reading, I was getting the biblical story, and if you watch my readings regularly, you will know that the story of Jacob comes through so many times in my readings. Specifically the story about Jacob's dream at Bethel. Now, Jacob was obviously a person in the Bible. He had a bit of a tumultuous relationship with God, a spiritual journey that had ups and downs and ups and downs and ups and downs. He was 77 when he had that dream at Bethel, and that's the dream where he dreamt about a ladder, Jacob's ladder, a ladder that went up and down and went up to heaven, and it was angels he saw going up and down to heaven. Now that 7 reference plays out in many of the other readings that have come through, many of the other messages that have come through. If we look at the North Star, it's surrounded by 2 7s. So if you think of Jacob, he was 77. 2 7s, you've got Ursa Major and Ursa Minor. Both of those have 7 stars. One of them is meant to symbolize the stairway to heaven. And obviously that was the dream that he had at 77. Now those 2 constellations are the reverse of, because one's flipped up and one's flipped down, a 7 and a 7. So that's 7-7 reference coming through again. And we're talking about a soul journey here, a soul journey that you are on. So what I actually did was I tapped into this energy of this particular cyclone. Now that came through in a reading yesterday. And what I actually use is a tool which I've only just started using recently, and it's called Davinci Code. And I use it because I was getting lots and lots of Bible references, and it's a tool that many biblical scholars actually use, because the theory is that God doesn't waste anything, and you'll have words in biblical text, but each of the letters within those words actually equate to an alphanumeric value. So you can add up, using the value of each letter, you can add up a word or a phrase, and it will give you a number for that word or phrase. And then, a bit like you would do with a thesaurus, you can go and search using a gematria tool for all the other words that have the same value. And oftentimes what you will actually get is clues, hidden clues. And if you're on a spiritual journey, it is a fantastic tool. So I'm going to give you some of the things that came through, and specifically in a couple of the previous readings. The cyclone is called Cyclone Alfred. Now we're talking about a spiritual journey. We're talking about number 9 this year, which is 2025, which is the end of something, and the end, the beginning and the end. The end of something and the beginning of something new. So this cyclone is called Cyclone Alfred because the last cyclone started with a Z. It works, they name them after each letter of the alphabet. So the last one was a Z, which is the end of the alphabet, and now we are going to the beginning. So it's called Cyclone Alfred. But in Gematria Code, these were the words that have the same alphanumeric value. Northern Lights, green eyes, she talks to angels, green sky, firstborn son, 88, April Fools, grandmother, the Holy Bible, new beginning, green means go, Archangel Gabriel, obviously who came to Mary, 2-7, which is that double 7 reference again, as in Ursa Major, Ursa Minor. Jacob was 77 when he had that dream. 2 7s. Black Hole Sun, Mary Magdalene, the Catholic Pope, and the beginning and the end. So that came through yesterday. But then this morning, I started getting all of these Wizard of Oz references. And the Wizard of Oz references are because obviously there's a cyclone coming. Been getting Wizard of Oz references for years and years and years, but I guess that's kind of, we've been joking about, you know, the house flying into the sky and all of this sort of stuff, because obviously there's a big cyclone coming. And it's part of the dialogue, but the more it was spoken about, the more I would have these intuitive hits. The Wizard of Oz itself, the movie, the book, and I've done many readings on it before, is essentially a metaphor for a spiritual journey. The yellow brick road itself symbolizes the spiritual journey that the characters go on. Dorothy, the Tin Man, the Lion, the Scarecrow, and obviously Toto. When I put into Gematria my city, which is Brisbane, I got Francis, the Clock of Mecca, and sabbatical. Now, sabbatical is a spiritual journey. Pope Francis is the current sitting pope. But I also got Yahweh, Adam and Eve in the beginning. Adam and Eve were there at the beginning. I got the word proof, Toto, and fig tree. When I put in the words, the Wizard of Oz, I got 2-2, time to wake up my people, and they were under the number 2100. So that 21, which is 3 7s, a spiritual connection between you and God on your soul's journey. I got the Great Dragon, the Trojan Horse. Now that's about a hidden army. That actually came out in a reading 2 readings ago. God's Chosen One. Then I got Jacob's Trouble. Now Jacob's Trouble is a reference to Jacob, who at 77 had that dream. And that's aligning with the Wizard of Oz. Ground Zero, Prophet Elijah, October 7, the Holy Lion, and this one was funny, Tupperware. Now this morning, prior to doing this reading, I was sort of cleaning up because we're getting ready for this cyclone. I'm just kind of tidying things away. And I pulled something out of the cupboard in my kitchen, and I pulled, I'm short, and everybody, not everybody in my house, but most people are tall, and so they put things way high up and I couldn't reach. And so I pulled this basket out, and with it came everything that was in the basket, landed on my head. So this big Tupperware set of scales landed on my head and broke. Tupperware was another word that aligns with the Wizard of Oz, but the symbolism of that is broken scales, as in it's time for a rebalance. This spiritual journey that you are on, this soul journey that you're on, this yellow brick road that you're following. I then looked up the words 7/7 because it's been coming through. Yellowstone, Christmas in July. Now on the 7th of July, we've got Uranus going into Gemini, which is a huge, big, I want to say, significant event this year. 7/7 also equals purple rain and Saint Germain. The number 7 itself symbolizes the complete journey or cycle. And 7 in the Wizard of Oz, Dorothy takes 7 steps to reach the wizard. As I said, the yellow brick road is a spiritual journey, the path to enlightenment. The cyclone is called Cyclone Alfred. The name meaning for Alfred in the Bible is Council of Elves. And in beautiful synchronicity, the Munchkins in the Wizard of Oz, they were elves. So this journey that your soul is on, and for some reason, because of things that are happening within, things that are happening in the 3D for me, I am pulling in on this energy and this symbolism. And I would say to you, if you are on a spiritual journey, there will be repeating numbers that come through in your life. And this is almost a tool, an exercise for you to tap into those numbers, those things, those messages that repeat. Because there will be things in and around your life that are happening in the 3D that have all of these messages in there. So as I said to you, my city is Brisbane. I then looked up the word soul, as in soul journey, S-O-U-L, in the Davinci Code. 360 was one of the numbers. The Garden of Eden, Rosario, the angel of death. So the Garden of Eden is the beginning. The angel of death is the end, the beginning and the end. Conception was another word. Again, the beginning. And green means go. Again, that green reference again. It also aligns with the number 402. Water, which is Pisces, this 18 months of Pisces water energy. A reset. And the name Miguel. This 21 number reference that's coming through. Now this Cyclone Alfred is meant to hit on the 7th of March. 3 being March and the 7th is 21. The last time we had a cyclone in Brisbane was 1974. When you add up those numbers, 1974, it adds up to 21. I then started looking at, obviously, Dorothy went on a spiritual journey, but she also went on a physical journey. And I was tapping into that 77 number, which keeps repeating all the way through the readings. What is 77 kilometers away from Brisbane? What is 770 kilometers away from Brisbane? What is 7,700 kilometers away from Brisbane? And let me show you something. I found a city. If we're talking about a soul journey, I found a city that is 7,700 kilometers away from Brisbane. Brisbane Airport to Seoul International Airport, 7,700 kilometers. And we're talking about a soul journey. And you can do that yourself. It's just called Air Miles Calculator. If you've got a repeating number that comes through in your life in regards to some soul journey that you are on, work out the potential connection between where you live and another destination, because there's a clue, there's a part of the puzzle on your spiritual journey that lies somewhere else in the world. And as I said to you, all of those clues are there for you to find. So I then put in soul, as in soul the city, into Gematria Code, the things that it aligns with alphanumerically. Hidden Gematria Code, which is exactly what we're doing. Criminal minds, the distance, 7,700 kilometer distance between Brisbane and Seoul. I then got Gog and Magog. Now that's about the apocalypse. That story in the Bible is about the apocalypse. And then I got the word bully. And I would say to you, go and have a look at the places that you have unknowingly visited in your life, because they are all part of a spiritual journey that you are on. Trojan horse keeps coming through. Now, I went to Turkey. I've been to Ephesus. I've been to all of these places. I've been to where Napoleon was. All of these things that have been coming through in my readings that I didn't realize until now. Actually, things from your past are a link to your future. And this Wizard of Oz and this bloody cyclone, and the winds are whipping up outside, this cyclone that's coming, and the themes and symbols around it that actually sent me on a bit of a spiritual, like Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, on this spiritual deep dive, part of a birth, a rebirth, but meant to be for you, if you're watching this reading, an opportunity for you to maybe tap into tools that you maybe hadn't thought of before. But there are messages everywhere. Let's have a look at an angel that's walking with you. Number 12. Adversity, lucid dreaming, and discerning secrets. You're getting messages. There's messages in dreams, in meditation. That's lucid dreaming. So that's when you're kind of drifting off. I always put my songs on random shuffle because I believe that my guides actually give me confirmation of things that I'm picking up on in a random shuffle. And it's true, because songs come through all the time that'll align totally with things that I'm already picking up on. Adversity, lucid dreaming, and discerning secrets. Now that card aligns with Page of Swords, the beginner's journey. The Page of Swords is the sun in Gemini. You're being illuminated. And Gemini is ruled by Mercury, so it's communication. You're being illuminated to things. Hidden messages in the things that are around you, and it's part of this journey that you are on. And I would say to you too, because a video popped up in my feed this morning. It was a Jewish rabbi, and he was talking about the Hebrew meaning of the word soul. Now, I can't say the word, but it essentially means breath in and breath out. And he was basically saying that everybody goes everywhere to try and find spiritual enlightenment, when actually it's within. And that aligns with the story of the Wizard of Oz. They went to see the wizard because they thought that he had what they needed. But the reality was that they had everything that they needed within. and they just needed to get back in touch with themselves. And for me, you know, like all of these prompts today, go and, you know, I was like, I might just go and check out what Alfred stands for. And of course I did, and it makes sense because it aligns, I was meant to say within this reading, it aligns with Munchkin. Now, Elf and Munchkin tie in with the themes of the Wizard of Oz that I was picking up on. So I trusted my guidance, my internal guidance. I trusted that. I almost sat in the quiet and just listened to what I was being told to do. It's almost like the yellow brick road is within. And all of these 7 sevens, now that 7 number for me aligns with Jacob and Rachel in the Bible. My name, my first name is Rachel, but my maiden name before I was married was Jacob. That has sat there, I'm 50 this year, that has actually sat there for the last 45 years without me tapping into it, knowing all along that it aligned with the story in the Bible. But my name was meant to be that because at some point in my life, at this particular point in time on my spiritual journey, I was meant to tap into that because it's part of how my spiritual journey has evolved. There are things within your name, there are things within what's happened within your family, there are things within the city that you live in, the distance between countries, you know, the astrological events that are happening around you, the climatic events that are happening around you, that are all hidden messages into a spiritual journey that you're meant to be on. It's like you are your own internal GPS, but you just haven't worked out the language that that GPS is trying to communicate with you in. Let's get a message from the man upstairs, serendipity. It will come to you when it's meant to. Now, all of my readings are timeless. Whenever you've stumbled across this reading, you were meant to find it. Part of the journey that your soul is on, where you start acquiring different skills by watching other people's journeys as to how they pick up little pieces of the puzzle, because you've got a big puzzle. Like, it's not my puzzle isn't your puzzle. You've got your own pieces to your puzzle. I'm just showing you how I find my pieces and put them together. And maybe you leave this reading and you go, you know what? I'm actually going to start putting my songs on random shuffle and see what happens. Now, my songs are always on random shuffle. I set the intention. I'm like, I don't understand some of these messages that are coming through. I'd like a bit more clarification. And then I put my songs on random shuffle and just let them play. And you'll get confirmation. It might come through in the name of a song. It might come through in the visual of the album. It might come through in the music video. It might come through in the lyrics of the song. It might come through in the name of the artist. It could come through in a movie that song is linked to. There might be messages within that movie, but you've just got to tap into your intuition and follow the yellow brick road. You've got to follow the yellow brick road because it's leading you somewhere. Some of those things, now when I looked at the Gematria Code, and I'll pop the link in the description box, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of pages for each and every word or phrase you put in there. I just picked out the things that align with messages that I intuitively are picking up on. There are things that I didn't say, but they may align with you. You just got to take the time to kind of dig a little deeper. And what I would say to you is it's not things that you can control or create. Like, I've got no control over a cyclone that's coming. I've got no control over the name of it. A beautiful white feather has just floated by. I've got no control over a white feather that floats by. That might be symbolic for you. I've got no control over the fact that I'm talking about a spiritual journey, a soul journey, a soul awakening. And the city of Soul, which means soul, is 7,700 kilometers away from my city. Like, that's God that did that. No control over the fact that that 77 number aligns with my name. I didn't name myself. Or that the Wizard of Oz in Gematria Code aligns with Jacob's trouble and that number 77. It also aligns with a certain country turns 77 this year, which also aligns with the soul journey that those people were on. And their soul journey then affected the soul journey of the people in the country that they moved to. It also aligns with the German, is it called a schwash? I can't say it, schwash sticker, which is basically 4 sevens. And one of those 7s is linked to Ursa Major, that stairway to heaven, the soul's enlightenment, and that theme that was coming through at the beginning of this reading. When Jacob had that dream at Bethel, that stairway to heaven, and he was 77 years old. Okay, let's get an energy. An energy. What's the energy around us at the moment? The Empress. Spiritual journey that you are on, tapping into your intuition. Divine feminine energy, not gender specific. Mother Mary energy, Mary Magdalene energy, is doing something because you are spiritually called to do it, even though you can't see the outcome. So Mary, Mother Mary, was spiritually called by Archangel Gabriel to go and have a baby. Probably made absolutely no sense to her. Mary Magdalene was called to remove herself from her family. Funnily enough, Mary Magdalene, Jesus removed 7 demons from Mary Magdalene. Called to leave her family and go on a spiritual journey with Jesus, a bit like follow the yellow brick road. Follow her soul's calling. And she birthed a church. It's something that you're being asked to do where you've just got to tap into your intuition and that faith that you're on the right path. The path to spiritual enlightenment. What's happening in the 3D for you? Wow, look at that. 3 of Wands and the 8 of Cups. You're walking away from the things that don't serve you. The 8 of Cups is Saturn in Pisces, which is Pisces spirituality. Saturn is karmic lessons. The spiritual lessons that you have learnt are taking you on this journey. 3 of Wands, taking you on this journey to spiritual enlightenment. That's the Sun in Aries. And what's happening in your soul? The 7 of Cups, that's Venus in Pisces. You are making spiritual choices. That card is about choice. You are making spiritual choices, Venus in Pisces, based on following your heart center. And I want to say here too, you know, think about the Cowardly Lion in The Wizard of Oz. He needed courage. If you think about the Tin Man, he was looking for a heart. The Scarecrow, he was looking for knowledge. But all 3 of them had that. They had it all the time. They just needed to go within. It's a message from the man upstairs. A journey that you are meant to go on. 2 of Wands, that came out upside down. We've got the 5 of Pentacles and the 6 of Pentacles and the 2 of Wands, but in reverse. Not wanting to take the message from the man upstairs. And I'm just thinking about that set of scales that landed on my head. And an imbalance, the Cowardly Lion, fear. He was so frightened when actually he had the courage all along. The Tin Man didn't have the courage to make a decision because he didn't think he had the heart. The Six of Pentacles is almost the Scarecrow, feeling like he wasn't balanced enough because he didn't think he had all the knowledge that he needed. And then you've got little Toto. Now, Toto was a word. Where did Toto come through? Toto came through in Brisbane, aligned with the alphanumeric value of Brisbane. Toto just followed his intuition, didn't he? He just went up onto that stage and whipped the curtain back and pulled down the illusion. It's the illusion. The message from God is that you've got to follow your inner guidance. And if you think in the original movie of The Wizard of Oz, it was Glinda who came in and told them to follow their inner guidance, to set off on that path. Well, it started with just Dorothy and Toto, but she had 7 steps, the 7 steps to enlightenment. Is the 7 steps to enlightenment it's in another religion as well. But you got to start the journey, and there's no map. There's no map. You are your internal compass. Okay, the outcome. The Knight of Pentacles. That's Saturn in Capricorn. Lesson after lesson after lesson. Lessons build strength, right? Let's have a look here. This Empress card. I just can't believe that soul and soul kind of dawned on me this morning. The spiritual journey that you're on. And all of these Wizard of Oz references. Now, the moon is divine feminine energy, but we're talking about things that are hidden. You know, like that distance between here and Seoul is 7,700 kilometers. How does that happen? It's hidden. It's hidden. Things like that are hidden until you tap into your internal GPS, your intuitive GPS, until you start seeing things with spiritual eyes instead of just looking at what is directly in front of you. The Four of Cups. That's the moon in Cancer. Cancer is symbolized by July, which is number 7. Number 7 is also the Chariot card, which is represented by the moon. And all I'm seeing here is the Cowardly Lion who's like, he gets so angry with himself. And it's because he doesn't realize that everything he needs is actually inside. It's all written there for you. You've got to be the code breaker. And then your world opens up. Let's have a look at this journey that you're on. This is what's happening in the 3D. This is 9 of Wands, which again is the moon. The moon in Sagittarius. All the lessons that you have to learn in your life in order to tap in. And the 8 of Wands. They're on a spiritual journey. This particular deck, these two walk away from everything they know. So if you think about Dorothy in the Wizard of Oz, she had to go on this spiritual journey somewhere where she didn't know. She didn't know the answer. She didn't know the outcome. These two in this particular deck, they walk away from everything that they know, and they put their spiritual journey first. They put their spiritual journey with each other first, and God turns them into a pair of birds so they can fly away to their freedom. Got a bird there flying away to their freedom. It's spiritual freedom. The 7 of Cups. What to come out there? The 9 of Pentacles, spiritual freedom. That's my Mother Mary card. That is the symbol of freedom. The 9 of Pentacles is Venus in Virgo. And Virgo as a card is the Hermit card, which is a spiritual awakening. And the Knight of Wands. Tapping in to a spiritual awakening, which actually brings, because the Knight of Wands brings things in fast. So does the Eight of Wands, actually. Brings things in fast. It's almost like once you tap in to the spiritual compass within, and I've got that image of, you know, in Star Wars where the big ship's kind of going along and then all of a sudden they hit warp speed and just gets almost sucked in. Sucked in through a portal. Because they figure it out. They figure out how to move space and time. Because, what is that? Where is that? Soul. S-E-O-U-L. They figure out the hidden gematria code. Hidden gematria code and the distance. So the distance between what's physically in front of them, meaning what's happening in the 3D, and the end, spiritual enlightenment, the end of the spiritual journey. The spiritual enlightenment takes them. There's no distance anymore. Interesting. Okay, let's have a look at this message from God, which was about the Tin Man, the Scarecrow, and the Lion, thinking that they didn't have the Three of Pentacles, thinking that they didn't have, the courage, that they didn't have the heart, and that they didn't have the knowledge. The Seven of Cups and the Hangman. That's Neptune energy, which is realizing that it's an epiphany. It's realizing that they did all along. And you get that from tapping into your internal GPS. The Knight of Pentacles, which is Saturn and Capricorn. Long, hard lessons. Ace of Wands. A new beginning. And the Two of Swords, which is the Moon in Libra. Hidden. And on the bottom, the Eight of Cups. I often get this, you know, when I sit down to meditate, which I don't do very often because I can't switch off my mind. I'm literally, there's a saying, my brain has too many tabs open like a computer, and it does. I just can't switch off. So when I sit down to meditate, I'm almost overthinking it. And then I get really cross with myself, a bit like, you know, the Cowardly Lion. I get really cross with myself. I'll never get it. I'll never get it. I can't do it. I can't meditate. Whereas if I just switch off my brain, all this stuff comes racing at me. Like it did this morning. And it's that sign that you don't know, serendipity, you don't need to go looking for things. They will come to you when you're meant to. A bit like that, I knew that Seoul was 7,700 kilometers away from Brisbane. I've known that for quite a while. But it was only this morning when I was thinking about the Wizard of Oz and the soul journey that I tapped into that. I always thought of the word as, you know, soul, as in the, you know, the city soul, but I'd never really thought about it as soul, as in your soul. And I kind of had this ding ding epiphany aha moment, and then went into this, oh well, it's 7,700 kilometers. I wonder if there is, because I've been thinking about the Wizard of Oz, I wonder if there's a 7 reference in the Wizard of Oz, and lo and behold, there was. There were 7 steps that she was meant to get on, that she was meant to go through to get to the Emerald City. Now, the Emerald City, all of these green references in the Wizard of Oz. Cyclone Alfred, the Gematria, Northern Lights, They're green. Green eyes, obviously green. Green sky. Then we had green means go, which aligned with Cyclone Alfred, but also aligns with the word soul, S-O-U-L. All of these green references. Crazy. Crazy kind of tapestry woven synchronicities. And even this morning, I was talking to my daughter. We were talking about who's going to play. Now, Wicked, the movie, was on at the end of last year. Well, the second part of that movie comes out in October, I think, this year, 2025. And we were talking about this connection, this spiritual connection between a spiritual journey and the Wizard of Oz. This connection, your connection to God, whoever God is, whoever you attribute God to. And, you know, she had said to me, I wonder who will play Dorothy in the second movie. Now, I'd seen something that the girl who played, what's her name, Millie Bobby Brown, is meant to be playing Dorothy in the second movie. Now, I'm not sure if that's true or not, but she played Elle in Stranger Things, which again is that, you know, upside down kind of 7-7 reference again. But Elle means God. All of these things just linking through. Okay, let us get some, we've got the word no, impenetrable energy, boundaries, and follow your gut. Intuition. Now, green means go. Red means stop. Stop, as in no, don't go any further. But green means go, is on. Boundaries. Putting boundaries up to people who don't align with you on your spiritual path. Follow your gut, intuition, impenetrable energy. In between worlds. The upside down. And that's what Dorothy was. She was in between worlds. I think I had that actually. Where did I have that? I had it somewhere and I can't remember. I've done so many readings this week. Okay, let's find out if there is another angel walking with you on this journey. This spiritual journey. Number 16 adds up to a 7. Loyalty. That's the Strength card. That's the Lion. The Cowardly Lion. I'm going to get another one. Thank you. 59, Harrenhal. That always reminds me of Harrenhal from, what's it called? Not Harry Potter. My son's watching it again at the moment. Game of Thrones. I always think of Hodor. Harrenhal, fertility and abundance. Fertility is our birth, rebirth. That's the Knight of Swords, which is Mars and Aquarius. What's on my bottom? 22. Now that did come through, and I think it was the Wizard of Oz is 2-2. Fortune, fame, and new ventures. That's the 3 of Cups, which is Mercury in Cancer. Let's get a moon for you. Let's see what else we can get on this spiritual journey. As I said, I'll pop that gematria calculator. All you got to do is just type in a word, something that's coming up frequently for you. Type it in, see what comes up. It aligns with, so if you've got a number that comes up all the time, just say 88 is coming up all the time. You don't type in the number 88, you type in the word 88, and then it will bring you up. a corresponding number. When the moon is full, it's your cue to release your grip and dance with the enchantment. Get ready for some cosmic luck with the full moon in Sagittarius. I'm going to do one more. Under the Aquarius full moon, it's time to unleash your true colors to the world. Okay, let me get you. I know we've already got one here with the South Node. We've got the South Node now in the 5th house. The South Node is what you are releasing. South Node cozying up in the 5th house. Your creative vibes are off the charts. But watch out for that sneaky desire to stand out too much. Your quest, break free from seeking approval and celebrate the quirks in everyone. This is where our soul feels snug, the stuff we got to let go of to spread our wings. So what that is actually saying to you, because the 5th house is ruled by Leo, the spiritual journey that you are on is yours alone. You can't take it with anybody, and you can't seek the approval of other people whilst you're on that journey, because only you can read your internal compass. Only you can follow your internal sat-nav. And I would say to you that if you are being infiltrated by other people's desire to have creative input in how you follow your own yellow brick road, you won't actually reach the intended destination that your higher self has for you. It's a solo journey that you are on. The other thing is too, like I said to you before, all of this information, you know, things about my name and all of that sort of stuff, if people had told me that, well, I can tell you that now actually. In the last couple of weeks, I've started to track back into all of the places that I visited. Now, I'm 50 this year, that I visited when I was 21. 21 is a huge number in terms of somebody's spiritual journey. And I went back and had a look at all the different places that I visited. Now, I didn't think about it. I was young and free and had a backpack and just went where, oh, you want to go to this country this day? Yeah, sure, why not, right? But now that I look back, and now that I tap into the energy of the places that I visited and the stories that are now coming out in tarot readings that align with, I'm like, oh, I know that story. I went to that place. Like, for example, the Trojan horse and the hidden army and stuff like that. Have a look at those places, but only if you're called to. Because if you had told me all of this stuff when I was 21, I wasn't spiritually aware enough, even though I had already gone through big spiritual awakenings. I wasn't spiritually aware enough to have been able to take on that information. And that's why sometimes it's good to get information from other people, but it's also more important to follow your own internal compass, because you intuitively, your higher self, your guides, your angels, whoever are communicating to you, are giving you pieces of information, serendipity, when you're meant to receive it, when you can take on that information and have that epiphany, have that aha moment and connect the dots. At last, Etta James. This is my love songs deck. Yellow, look at the stars, look how they shine for you and everything you do. Yeah, they were all yellow. I came along, I wrote a song for you and all the things you do, and it was called Yellow. The connections that you have, the soul connections that you have, nothing compares to you. That song came out today. I had my songs on random shuffle today because we had to go and have some blood tests done before everything shut, because everything's closed now. And we were talking about she was on a spiritual journey. Her son passed away, and we were talking about the spiritual journey that she was on. And before, now she's passed away now too, but in the years prior to her passing away, she actually changed religions. She was Catholic, obviously she's Irish, and she converted to Islam, which is a huge thing that's happening at the moment. And I'm just thinking about what my daughter said, because she converted to Islam a couple of years ago, and she was talking about something in the Quran that she'd read this morning. And it goes back to that 333, because the Abrahamic faiths are Islam, Judaism, and Christianity, and they all follow the one God. But 3 sevens, which comes through all the time, 3 sevens are 21. And if I talk about, you know, Jacob and the dream he had, that is something they all believe in, that story of Jacob. And again, that 7-7 reference, because he worked for 7 years for Rachel's, worked for 7 years in order to marry Rachel, and then he was tricked by Rachel's father and had to work for another 7 years. At last, my love has come along. But yeah, all of those stories within those 3 religions are all represented. Jesus, Mary, Jacob, all of them, Moses, Adam and Eve, they're all in there. They're all intertwined, which is the irony, I guess, of, you know, that country turned 77 years. Jacob's troubles, that was, what was that? What did that come through as? The Wizard of Oz. I'm just tapping in, because if I think about that swash, I can't say it, the swash sticker, it's 4 sevens. When you think about the Wizard of Oz, the Wicked Witch of the West, the East, there was 4 witches. Battles between siblings, because Jacob had a brother, and in the Wizard of Oz, Dorothy's house landed on one of the sisters. There's something in here about battles between people. If you look at Israel, 77 years old, but for Palestine, it's 77 years since the Nakba. And that all aligns with what happened in World War II, which aligns with that symbolism of the swastika and that repeating 7 again. Don't know if you can hear that wind. Crazy, right? Whatever's happened here in this spiritual journey that you're on, you are meant to. Like Dorothy was meant to. Was it Toto ran away and she went to get him? And then by the time she got back, her aunt and uncle had already gone down into the bunker. And so that's why she ended up in the house. But there's mirroring going on, because the little old lady that rode the bike with that funny hooked nose and that hat, that was the same character that played the Wicked Witch of the West. So there's mirroring going on here, which is that 7-7 again. Take my heart, Al Martino. Without you, David Guetta and Usher. That's somebody's alarm going off. You and Me, Lifehouse. I'm going to get one more. Just getting these cards. I don't know why. I'm just called to get more of these songs. There might be messages in the lyrics. If they're attached to a movie, the artist, what was happening with the artist at the time, Grenade, Bruno Mars. I would go through all of this pain, take a bullet straight through my brain. Yes, I would die for you, baby, but you won't do the same. I'm going to get one more. The Circle Game, Joni Mitchell. And the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on the carousel of time. We can't return. We can only look behind from where we came and go around and around. In the Circle Game, that's 7, 8. And Out of Reach, Gabrielle. What was that? Soul. The City of Soul. The Gematria Code aligns with the distance. Interesting. Okay, these are love messages, but I'm just going to get messages from your higher self. Illumination. I just want the best possible outcome for everyone. I couldn't tell you the truth. I would say that's your higher self basically saying you need to work things out for yourself, because in working them out, a bit like the Cowardly Lion and the Scarecrow and the Tin Man, once they realized that they had it all along, that they had the hidden code all along, then it basically unlocked all the doors. It unlocked Pandora's box. Take a chance on me. True love. And don't be hasty. One more, because I need a 7. I want to talk to you, but fear takes over. Okay, I'm going to get you some Scrabble tiles. In here is Scrabble tiles that have got letters and numbers on them. I'll call them out. I'm going to give it a shake. It does make a little bit of noise. If you have hearing sensitivity, just turn your volume down. I'm going to shake it in 3, 2, 1. Davinci. That was the first thing I thought of, Davinci Code. There's something in that movie. And again, that is about hidden codes within hidden codes. C and a 3. A U and a 1. An F and a 4. An X and an 8. That's the end. An M and a 3. A J and an 8. An L and a 1. And that, if you can hear that, that's my dog. It's the energy at the moment, obviously. There's a storm coming. All of the animals know. And so he's just going nuts and he's racing along the veranda backwards and forwards. A P and a 3. A G and a 2. Gog and Magog. An N and a 1. An A and a 1. And a Y and a 4. Let me just see if I can see any words. What I can see, that 84 years ago, that aligns with something at the moment. There's things that are happening in that happened in World War II that actually run within the spiritual layers of people's awakenings at this present time. V-Day and VE Day. And I think it's May. May the 4th, I think, is V-Day. It was basically the end of the war. The end. May, the 4th of May. We got a 4 there, the 4th of May. Okay, I'm going to leave those there. I'm going to get you 3 final cards. See if there's anything else that your guides want to tell you. Out of reach. You think about all those people in the war, on the spiritual awakenings that those people would have gone through, whether they were participating in the war or whether they were actually at home waiting for a loved one. to come back. Now that is again another 7-7 because the war started in 1949 and ended in 1939 and ended in 1945, which is 7 years. That's 7 reference again. The world. Something happening on the world stage at the moment that is mirroring what happened back in World War II. The 5 of Cups. The Tower. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, we got some cards popping here. Okay, we've got the 6 of Swords and the 7 of Wands. What's going on here? The 4 of Pentacles, the Sun in Capricorn. The 5 of Cups is Mars in Scorpio. The Tower is Mars energy. Something's crumbling. Some sort of heartbreak, but something's crumbling. The 6 of Swords is being moved on to calmer waters. That's Mercury in Aquarius. The 7 of Wands is Mars in Leo. Mars, Mars, Mars. And the 4 of Pentacles is the Sun in Capricorn. And we've got the 8 of Swords on the bottom, which is Jupiter in Gemini. Now, as I said to you, Jupiter goes into Cancer, which is 777. Jupiter is 777. Jupiter goes into Cancer. So part of the spiritual journey that you are on, there's some sort of movement that's coming in, something that's held you back, and maybe it's the inability to tap into your intuition because you didn't realize that you had the internal code, the internal GPS, and that you just needed to switch off and stop looking for it and realize that all the answers are there. Everything you need is already within. All the answers are there. But when I was saying before about the Wicked Witch in the Wizard of Oz part of the film was the same lady who played the little old lady on the bike. Oh, my puppy, he's standing at the window now, just looking straight in at me, like eyeballing me. The same lady who played, and the Tin Man, the Lion, and the Scarecrow were all people that worked at Dorothy's farm, at her uncle and aunt's, Auntie M, at her uncle and aunt's farm. There's something mirroring here. There's a journey that you are on because we're tapping into World War II energy. So you've got people at war and people at home. In the Wizard of Oz, you've got people actually within the Wizard of Oz, and then you've got people in Kansas. There's something happening. So, for example, if I look at, the connection between, say, Brisbane and Seoul, that 7,700 kilometre connection, we've got a physical cyclone happening here. But maybe there's something happening within that city, because what were the words for that city? Hidden Gematria Code, Criminal Minds, The Distance, Gog and Magog, and Bully. Something physically. 7 of Wands is defense. 6 of Wands is being moved along. The Tower is something crumbling. So while something physically is happening in terms of a weather pattern within Brisbane, maybe there's some sort of mirroring happening in Seoul. Because we've got that 7-7 mirroring. How interesting is that? Brisbane. Francis, the clock at Mecca. Tick-tock, tick-tock. I've been hearing that all the time. Sabbatical, a soul journey. Toto, proof, Adam and Eve, and Yahweh. The Wizard of Oz. 2-2, time to wake up my people. The Great Dragon. Look at that. The Great Dragon. The Trojan Horse, the Hidden Army, God's Chosen One, Jacob's Trouble, which is 77, Ground Zero, Prophet Elijah, October 7, the Holy Lion, and Tupperware, because those bloody scales fell on my head. And isn't that what happened to Dorothy? She got hit in the head and fell asleep and found herself in The Wizard of Oz. Found herself in that story. So interesting. I want to get more cards, but in between worlds, look at that. Trapped. Trapped. Oh, look. Trapped. I want to get more cards. This is why I want to get more cards. Trapped, in between worlds, True North, Lighthouse, Witchcraft, The Wizard of Oz. Witchcraft, their magic isn't working. Wow, that's beautiful. That's where I'm going to leave this reading. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that there was information in this reading that actually gave you some tools that you could maybe use on your own spiritual journey. As I said, I don't think one person has all the tools. I think we each tap into our own way of tapping into our intuition, and I'm always fascinated by how other people do, and so I love to hear about things that maybe I can try. So I hope this reading gave you just some thoughts and ideas as to how you can tap into your own intuition to set yourself on the path of being able to tap into your own intuition. Hit that internal GPS that you've got. All the best on your spiritual journey, on your birth, your rebirth, wherever you are. If this reading resonated with you, please give it a like. If you haven't already, please subscribe. If you are called to any of my tarot or oracle decks, and I can't remember whether I said that in the intro or not, but I'm in Illustrator, so they are all my own designs. The links to purchase those can be found in the description box. I will list all of the songs that came through and any movies I mentioned in the description box as well. There might be more messages in them for you. All the best, and I will see you again in another reading.